in 1980s, Susan,
Hi.
my wife started a business. She started it with a red body clay that she dug from the Hudson River. So found clay that long ago. We yet used it all the way up for 10 years, and then we kind of got a white clay body environment in our shop. But I've always been keenly aware when I'm paddling on in my kayak or driving by of possible clay hills. And one possible clay hill that came to my mind when this project came about is in downtown, the village of Ballston Spa, behind the Brookside Historical Society. You stand and you look at it, there's a hill that rises up above it, and there's a stream that curls around in front of it. Well, up on that hill is clay that's a picture of it. You see it right up there, which makes, in my mind, I hope we're all going to go out and find our own little places of clay. This is a perfect laboratory to be able to go in, look at it, take the shovels, bring it back in drywall buckets or whatever, and then take it back to the studio, which is what I did here with this clay. If you look at, this is what they were talking about, the layers. You can see the layers clearly in here. So I did two different things. I took this, I pulverized it, I put it through a stack of screens up to 120 mesh, and then I mixed that up with water and I poured it in a plastic mold, and that's what the first group is. Then I did, in the second group, I basically took raw pieces of this and I fired them. I fired them at cone 06, which is relatively speaking low temperature. I fired them at a cone 01, which is middle range, and then I fired them at 06. And just so that you can get a sense,
You mean six? Six.
I'm sorry. This is room temperature clay. This is about 1800 degrees.
Wait.
This gets us up into the 1900s. And then when you look at this, is at 2070 degrees. So if you see it's glass, and away you go. And one thing that I'll point out, and it may have to do with the Galway pottery, is that when they talk about Albany slip was really useful for glazing the outside of pottery. And also the inside of drain tiles. It became this glazed layer. Now I'm not an expert, but I've read a lot. I think that's fair to say that clay supplies to the Galway pottery likely were coming up from Albany, where the mines were, where they were making sewer pipe, etc. And I'm happy to say more, but I know the time is a fight. So to pass on to either Susan or
Okay.
30 years ago, we built a pond. We lived 10 miles that way at 900 feet, so we're kind of on the hills. And everyone around us had a pond, so we thought it was a great idea. We thought we'd have a nice slate bottom. And they came in with the excavator, and this giant pile of muck came out. And it was all clay. And he said, it's all clay. It's all clay. So 2 months later, he had to come back after it dried a little bit because he would have lost his excavator in the muck. But anyway, so over 30 years, we have a drain, and in the spring when it runs off quickly, it's formed this little, valley. And at the bottom of the valley, it turns this orangey color. And I was an art teacher for many years, and I love clay. So I took some to school, and I fired it without doing anything to it, and low temperature, and it fired. And that was, decades ago. So when these guys came up with this kiln, I said, sure, you want to bring some clay in? So I brought in, there is a process. What's your screen, 1,000 mesh?
No, 120.
120? Well, this is what I use.
Yeah. That's about a 40 mesh.
That's my screen. Okay. So I'm doing this in my backyard. I dig the clay in, half a 5-gallon bucket, which is what I can handle. I dump it out on a plastic sheet. I let it dry like this. I smash it down to, small particles, get out sticks and bugs or whatever's in there. And then from there, you make it into a slurry, which is what this is.
Sure.
And then I was having a hard time getting from slurry to this. So Don says, get yourself a pillowcase. Do you have a driveway with blacktop? Yes. Is it hot? Yes, it is. So I donated a pillowcase. And I thought, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a huge mess, but it took about a week. He said, if you want to hurry it up, put some weight on it. And he says, it will form a skin. I didn't believe any of this. It will form a skin. Oh, it will? Okay. And sure enough, about a week later, this is what I got. But before that, Dana allowed me to fire the little bird, which was cool. And it turns out to be a bright, kind of a red terracotta with a bisque fire. And then this guy, this is the bisque fire, this is the low fire. So, you could make, flower pots or garden sculpture or something. And then brought this up to cone 5, which is considerably hotter and pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And it made it all together. We
It's on the verge of melting.
Yeah, it's getting pretty glassy.
Did you put a glaze on the head?
Yes, that's a blue glaze.
Blue glaze.
So we're at the point now where we have clay, and we know how to process it, and we need to know what to make out of it, and how high we can fire it, and what kind of glazes we can put on it. And apparently, this is loaded, I guess, with iron, which is not toxic. So, we could actually make stuff that's, you can eat out of or drink out of. But
And kind of had good workability, like you could build out of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it's.
And
You're
Rebecca
supposed
and I used to throw it.
It
Oh,
throws
yeah.
beautifully.
Yeah, show us your bowl. So I've been trying to get somebody to throw a piece also. And then this is our resident expert. And she said, okay, I'll do it. So through this little guy. And this stuff is really, this is very soft. So it's hard to throw, but so that's gonna go in the
And no additives
This
or
soft?
anything, so that's coming right out of the ground.
Yeah, it does. You're pretty good.
Can I add one little thing here? that
Sure.
I noticed. So this bird is fired to the same temperature as this clay, right? So these are the same temperatures, but 2 different clays. Now, how far are you guys from each other?
Good question.
How far is Ballston Spa from me?
15 miles?
So that's a 15-mile from this one to this one, and look how different they are.
Yeah.
So that's just like a good example of how the clay that's gonna get mined is gonna have lots of different properties.
And that's why clay bodies have formulas that include many times different types of clay in different proportions to come together so you can make it perform the way you want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a good segue for you, Susan, because you, as a ceramic artist traveling all around the world, collects clay from all different locations.
Yeah, wherever I go, I find a potter who's willing to give me some clay. So, this is clay that I got from my own pond. And when my kids were little, which was a long time ago, we dug some clay from the pond and made a bunch of vases. And I fired it in a sawdust kiln. And it's certainly something, that anybody can do, is make a little sculpture and fire it at a low temperature using very low temperature fuels. That is what a lot of cultures did for many, many years. So this is an example of clay that comes from Zanzibar, low temperature clay. This was not meant for functional use. It was decorative. And The clay from Belize, they were making whistles out of to sell. And they would dig their own clay and make whistles and sell them. Pueblo clay from Taos, I don't know if you can see, but it's micaceous clay. It has a lot of mica in it. And so the mica would come to the surface when this was fired. Also low temperature. And this is clay from Valoris, France, which is where Picasso made ceramics. He went especially to Valoris to where the clay was dug, and you can see it's very, very fine clay, not rough at all. So this is clay that I recently dug from my pond. I also sieved it in a very primitive manner, and it held together, but it feels kind of sandy to me. So it might need something added to it that would give it some more plasticity, so that you would be able to fire it and not have it crumble. I also happen to have a bag of Albany slip, the original Albany slip that was given to me many years ago, and I haven't used it. And I figured this was a good time to dispense it. So if anybody would like some Albany slip to take home and use on your pots when you finally make them, I brought plastic bags, and you can make some home.
It's very generous.
Susan,
Yeah.
could you talk a little bit about the significance of Albany slip? It's an important product.
Well, Albany slip was known all over the world. It was used all over the world as a slip. And if you don't know what a slip is basically clay, very, very fine clay, that is not meant to be used to form a pot. It's meant to go on top of a pot, on top of the surface, and fire kind of as a sealant onto the clay. And these beautiful pots here that were brought in by Arlene probably have slip on them. This might actually have Albany slip on it. And as they say, it was gorgeous color from the tones, very gloss brown. And oftentimes you'll see a pot with Albany slip decoration on top, where the background is a lighter color than this Albany. Yeah, this also might have Albany slip on it. This beautiful shine, sort of delicate shine that it has. So at some point, I think it was, I don't know when, I know if Rachel Garrison, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know when Albany slip stopped being mined? It was pretty recently.
I think it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
They had sealed off the area and
Yeah.
so you can get at it.
So it's not available. You can't buy it. You can buy Albany slip substitute.
Well, thank you, Susan.
Yeah.